Hi everyone, I hope you're all keeping well. Welcome to another live evening of ukulele fun. Tonight we're going to be doing a lovely Irish jig. So welcome to Melodic Mondays. So in case anyone's new, do come and say hello by the way in the live chat. Hi Ted, good to see you mate. Working on the Triplets in Blue Hawaiian Moonlight. I love it. What a great song. It's a classic, isn't it? So Melodic Mondays, we're going to routinely basically alternate these with our Canacapila Mondays. So Canacapila Mondays, all about strumming, learning how songs work, putting together chords, thinking about Nashville numbers and things like that, and a little bit of soloing. Whereas Melodic Mondays is a bit more traditional in that there's less improvisation. We're going to be using sheet music and tablature, and we're going to be playing some beautiful melodies. So remember chords, when we play lots of notes at the same time, melodies, when we just play one note after another. Occasionally we'll turn them into chord melodies where we kind of have a cross between them both. But just for today, we're just going to do a really beautiful Irish jig as a melody, which is lovely. Hi Karen, ready, steady, go! Hi guys. Oh, talking about ready, steady, go. I spent a lot of time working on a website today, doing some fun stuff use. The boring bits is I finally added a search function, which might not sound a lot, but when I've got like over 500 arrangements on there, if you include all live lessons and everything, it's quite important. So now if there's a particular lesson or something, or like a blog post, whatever you want that you can't find, you'll notice a little search in the top right corner and on the mobile site as well, and you can click that and search. The other thing I've been doing, which is just, it's just for fun, but I've been meaning to do it for ages. People have asked me, I promise, it's not me just being all egotistical, but we've got merch for the first time in like years and years and years. I've finally gone and done it. So we've got like nice sweatshirts, we've got some really nice t-shirts, and these are really nice soft cotton ones. They're not any of those kind of really cheap Fruit of the Loom ones that you sometimes get with these things. We've got mugs, there's all sorts. So come and take a look. I've only done one design so far, but I will be adding loads more designs as we go. And it won't all be, if anyone doesn't want my ugly face on their t-shirt, which is quite fine, I'll be doing some cool kind of ukulele quotes and stuff like that. So check that out. It's in my store if anyone is interested. So yeah, Joe, I've been thinking about that search function for ages. I basically I couldn't work out how to do it, and then one of the programmers at my website taught me how to do it. So yeah, Monday mornings with Matt over Kaneohe Bay. Kaneohe Bay. Sorry, Tim. I've been there, so I should know how to pronounce it. Oh, I love it. You might have noticed only 3 days until the awesome Andalusian ukulele adventure. Is going to be a whole heap of fun. So I'm going to be in Spain for the next few days, but don't worry, it does mean we're going to miss the next Canacapila, but I've just pushed it back a week. So we will be back for the Canacapila after that in a couple of weeks' time, which should be loads of fun, where we're going to look at songs all with a honey theme. Honeysuckle rose, sugar pie, honey bunch, all that sort of stuff, which is going to be really, really good fun. There's also another live lesson on the way, almost as soon as I get back from Spain, in fact, actually. So a week Wednesday, we're going to do a controversial one in that I've called it Don't Learn Strum Patterns. Doesn't mean that you shouldn't learn to play rhythmically at all, but I want to get people away from, am I on a down or an up or a chuck or whatever, and just thinking more rhythmically. So if you go to a uke group and you get stressed out by strum patterns, or you're trying to work out stuff, come and watch this with me. This is going to be Wednesday 28th of May at 3:30, which should be really good. I haven't forgotten you Beatles peeps. There are some new lessons on the way, so just hang in there. It's just with things being so busy with Spain and everything, I haven't got to record another one yet, but we will get there, absolutely. It's hot in California. Whoa. I love it. It's gone a bit cooler here today, but that's fine. It's all good. I'm actually desperately hoping it's going to rain because the butterflies and the flowers, they really need it. Everything's looking really a bit dried and shriveled over here, even though I've been watering the garden loads. Thanks, Stephen. So yeah, hopefully we'll be getting a little bit of rain coming through. So this is the piece that we're going to learn tonight. It's a lovely old Irish jig. Interestingly, in all the promo for this, I've been calling it an Irish reel. And I'm not kind of big into, I've only recently got into kind of old time and bluegrass music and that kind of thing. So I'm not that well versed in the differentiation in folk music, but it turns out, because I did some reading on it, that this one isn't a reel at all. It's technically a jig. So a jig is slightly more upbeat than a reel in general. And not always, but they tend to be in 6/8 timing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I'll talk you through that timing in a little bit as well. It's a lovely old song. I just wrote down the lyrics here that I found. So it's a kind of about a jilted lover who goes to sea. What did I do with it? Here it is. But as with a lot of that stuff, of course, a lot of the bluegrass Appalachian music comes from the Scots-Irish, who emigrated over the Atlantic. And I'm guessing this guy was one of them. I'm sailing out on the ocean, many miles from home on sea, and wonder, little darling, if you ever think of me. I'm just an old true lover roaming through this world alone, and I have no one to love me. Though through this life I'll always own. I once was carefree and happy when I won my sweetheart's hand, and now my life is empty since she'd wed another man. Do you remember, little darling, just how much I care for you? And you told me that you loved me, but you proved to be untrue. I'm travelling far away, dear, many miles from this old place, and I know I'll never forget you, your sweet smiles and happy face. I can hear my mother calling, I can see my father pray, and if I'd listened to my father, I would be at home today. What a great final line. If I'd listened to my father, I would be at home today. Amazing. So I'm guessing he wrote that maybe halfway over the Atlantic on the way to a new life in America, which is amazing. They were brave people, weren't they? Just going and emigrating to somewhere completely new. It must have been really scary for them. Okay, so that's, I think what I'll do is I'll put it on close camera and I'll just play through roughly how we're going to do it. There's lots of different ways we can do this in terms of picking. You'll notice I'm going to do Pima style. So rather than use my thumb as I do for a lot of things, I'm going to use Pima style. And when I teach this later on, we're going to look at things like alternating finger picks, where we use more than one finger on one string. But just for now, I'll keep it relatively simple. Let me just bring it up a little bit bigger on my screen so I can see it. And I'll just have a little play. Yeah, I hope the young man didn't throw themselves into the ocean. Who knows, eh? Well, I guess not. Otherwise, I suppose we wouldn't have the song if he did, right? So, okay, something like this. Sorry. I'll get it the second run through. There we we go. Apologies about the couple of errors, but it just goes to show we're all human, right? I got it wrong a couple of times as well. Robin, yeah, the handouts, if you email me, I can ping you some over. But what I'll do is I'll put it on screen for you as well so you can see what's going on. And I've also got my iPad attached, so what I can do later on when we get really into it is I can zoom in and out, so you'll be fine. You can follow it if you haven't got them. But yeah, just to encourage, give something back to the members that support me every day, basically. Okay, so let's have a look at what's going on here. So we're in 6/8 timing, and 6/8 timing, you'll notice it has a real flow to it. Apart from that first crotchet at the start, that just means a quarter note in new language. Apart from that, all of the other notes are pretty much the same length. A little bit of a skip there. So notice we get this real kind of feel of flowing. And of course, when these would have been played on violin back in the day, oh, thanks, Robin, thank you. When this was played on violin back in the day, these quick jigs, they would have been constant movement. And that's nice and easy because on a violin, you can move your bow backwards and forwards over the strings really quickly. On a mandolin, if you're playing this, you can use a pick to hit those strings quickly. On the ukulele, we need to think about things a little bit more differently. So there's a few things we can do to basically add those little kind of quick flourishes in to make it more simple. And one of those is using the high G. Ah, thanks, Robin. Thank you. You're a star. Thank you. Appreciate it. So 6/8 time, the top of the time signature means there's 6 beats in every measure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And the bottom number always confuses people because if you play songs at slow tempo, they can almost turn into another time signature. But the way I think about it is the 8, it means an 8th note or a quaver. And if you look at a measure, for instance, that second measure where you've just got 6 beats, you'll see everyone is a quaver. That just means one of those notes with a tail on it, or it just means a single note length in a bar. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, they're all the same. So 8th notes tend to be played quite quickly, one after another, unless you're playing this at a crazy slow tempo. All right, so 6 beats and they're fairly quick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, a lot of fiddlers and banjo players and mandolinists, they will put the emphasis on beats 1 and 4 in 6/8 timing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And not always you hear that. You'll hear kind of a higher note. There, that second B. That A in the next one. They tend to be emphasised, so you just hit them a little bit harder. We can have a look at that later on, but I wouldn't sweat that too much. Just get used to playing these notes through as it is for the moment. So that's the time signature. What we'll do first is, and this is what I like to do even when I'm working out melodies, just to get a feel for it, is just to strum it. Okay, so time signature 6/8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If you wanted to keep things really simple, just strum down 6 times on each measure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If you want to add a little bit more of a flourish with some ups and downs, I kind of like this pattern, which is really nice. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now what I'm doing there is simply down, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up. Or as you know, because I don't like talking strum patterns, as you can see, I will more often than not think walk, running, running, walk, running, running, walk, running, running. Notice that puts the pulse on beats 1 and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's really sweet, isn't it? Now, what we're going to do is we're going to strum it through. The only thing you really need to look out for is this measure here. This is the one that trips everyone up. Can you see that D comes halfway through the measure? So if I just talk you through it, let me come in on close camera again. We've got G, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. G, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. C, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, D. See what I mean? Just watch out for that. I'll do the next line for you. And then it changes here. We have C and D and G. Classic 1-4-5 fiddle tune. The other thing that's classic about fiddle tunes, and loads of these fiddle tunes, you'll notice that it's a 16 measure song. That means we have 8 measures of an A section, then we repeat them, and then we have 8 measures of a B section, and then we repeat that. So we call it A, B, B format, okay? Typical fiddle tune. So what I want you to do is just strum through with me. When we get to the D and G, we're going to go back to the start. The second time we're going to keep it going and we're going to do the B section, this section, and we're going to repeat this as well. So basically it's this twice, then this twice, and I'll kind of hum the melody so you can get used to it. I'll come in on close cam so you can see what chords I'm playing. All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Da 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 da. 1, 2, 3, D. Second line. Da 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 da. D and G. Back to the start. Ah. Da 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 da. Measured 10, B section. There you go. Hopefully that gives you some idea of how the tune goes, which is great. Oh, thanks, Robin. Thank you. Thanks, Harry. Thanks, mate. Okay, so thanks for the countdown as well, Harry. So this one will be through soon, and then we'll be doing I think we'll do the cruise countdown after that, which will be super exciting. Okay, so let's have a look. Now, what we're going to do before we learn the melody, and I know you'll go, but really it's worth it. We're just going to have a look through our G major scale, and we will be doing scales not just on their own because they're really dry if you do that, but we will be going through some scales each Melodic Monday because it's really important. If you have a look at the tune just briefly, you don't have to read sheet music, don't panic. But if you have a look, there's no flat or natural or sharp signs next to any of the notes. That means really simply that every single note is a natural note that comes up in the key of G. All right, we've got no accidentals, no sharps or flats. So this is staying really strongly within the key of G, which is fantastic, right? Okay, so we're in the key of G. So that means that if we learn the notes that come up in the key of G, we're more likely to find them quickly on the fretboard, which is fantastic. Moreover, if we learn them in a couple of different places, it allows us to learn the fretboard, and it allows us to play when we get to the top part of the fretboard across multiple strings rather than just playing up and down the A string. And as you'll see, that's going to have some really big advantages later on. So let's just go through the G major scale. It's just the alphabet starting from G. The important thing to note is that every major or minor scale has a certain amount of sharps and flats, and the G major scale has one sharp, it's an F sharp. So when we get to the F note, we're going to play it as a sharp. You'll see in a second. Okay. You can use any fingers for now this end, just to pick through these notes. But what we're going to do is we're going to start with the 3rd fret of the E string for G, open A, 2nd fret for B, 3rd fret for C. Reach up with your little finger, I do want you to do that, to the 5th fret for D. Okay. Then we're going to reset and use our 1st finger here on the 7th fret for E. Here comes the F sharp, and then back to the G. And that F sharp's really important because notice, because it's only half a step away from G, it creates that sense of resolution at the end, which is really important. So numbers wise, we've got 3 on the E string, and then we have the open A string, 2, 3, 5, 7, and then 9 and 10. And we can come back again using multiple fingers. 10, 9, 7, reset to your little finger here at 5, back to 3, 2, off, and 3. Now this is key, and this is super important. I really want you to say those notes out loud as you play them, because as we do these Melodic Mondays, I don't want it to be a real random thing. I want it to really help with your learning and make you a better ukulele player, basically. So the best thing you can do is say these notes as you play them. And let's do that. We're going to do exactly what we just did, but instead of thinking numbers, we're going to say the notes. So we've got G, A, B, C, D, reset, E, F sharp, and G. And if you say them as you come backwards, it makes you think about it even more because it's a bit harder. G, F sharp, E, and then just keep counting the alphabet back. D, C, B, open A, and then the G on the 3rd fret of the E string, which is really nice. Okay, so that's great. That's our G major scale. But notice when I play that, I have to do a big reset there, which is really awkward. And it makes it kind of spread out over the uke at quite a distance. But look what happens if I do it up here, exactly the same note. Easy peasy lemon squeezy, because my fingers aren't having to move all over the place. So that's what we're going to do next. We're going to learn the G major scale, and we're going to learn it in 7th position. Now, let me know if you've got any questions about any of this, by the way. Oh, this was my mug off Sandy for my birthday. Don't tell her she forgot to put the capital D on Dad. It's from that Olivia Rodrigo song she loves. It's a bad idea, right? No, see you tonight. It's a bad idea, right? We don't sing the rude word, just so you know. Anyway, okay. So what I want you to do this time is start your G major scale up here on the 7th fret of your C string. Okay, we tend to start scales on this low C string because it gives us the lowest notes in the scale really easily. So we're going to pick the 7th fret, we're going to go up 2 to 9, we're going to pick the 7th fret of the E string, we're going to go up 1 to 8, we're going to pick the 10th fret of the E string, then we're going to come back to 7 again, and now remember that lovely resolution of the half step, we're going to go 8 and 10. Okay, we'll do that again. So it's 7, 9, 7, 8, 10, and then 7, because we want that resolution, 9, 10. Let's do it backwards. 10, 9, 7, 10, 8, 7, 9, 7, And again, what I want you to do is count those letters through. G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, and G. And backwards, G, F sharp, E, back to the 10th for D, C, B, and then down up here to 9 for A and G. Okay, fantastic. Now that's really important because in this piece it climbs really high up the fretboard in the B section, which is what a lot of fiddle tunes do. And we have a lot of action based up here on this B and C note. And if we wanted to play a B and C note in first position, or open position I should say, we'd have to come way back here, right? Don't worry, Dranny, good to see you. And we don't want to have to go all the way from up here to down here because it's a real long way to go. So knowing that G major scale up the fretboard's going to really stand you in good stead, if you excuse the pun. The other thing that's really neat about it, just quickly, and I promise we'll get onto the tune. If you think about it, if you know your G major scale here. Whoops, what am I doing? I've started at the wrong note. That's more like it. That gives you notes all over the fretboard down here and up here. And if we do this one, that means that we can learn the notes in this part of the fretboard really, really nicely. So if we put this together and this, we can learn a lot of the fretboard really quickly, which is a really fantastic thing to do. And I really urge you, even if you don't read sheet music, which is totally fine, I didn't for many years, I urge you to start to learn those notes on the fretboard because it just makes everything easier, which is really, really great. And you'll notice in certain parts of the song, where's a good example? Let's see. Here's a good example at the end of this line here. You'll notice that notes are just going up and down. And that's literally, it's a common thing to happen in fiddle and mandolin music. They're playing up the scale and then back down the scale. You could almost draw a perfect graph, couldn't you, like this? As it goes, it looks like waves on the ocean, which is really nice. Oh, Harry, I forgot to say the kids ate those freeze-dried ice cream. On the cruise, Harry gave the kids, or I think it might be Mike, wasn't it? I can't remember now. Gave the kids some freeze-dried ice cream from outer space, and it was amazing. Okay, right, let's get to playing this thing then. As I say, I'll try and bring bits up on big on screen to help you. So let's just think about the rhythm of this first measure before we play it. So notice that most of the measures here, the notes are the same length. We've got all those quarter notes, otherwise known as quavers. That just means a note with a flag on it. Whereas here we've got a crotchet at the start, which is a quarter. Oh, sorry, I got it mixed up. Eighth notes are quavers. I get confused because I use the English version. Eighth notes, which is most of the song, are the quavers, the ones with the flags. And then quarter notes are the crotchets, which are the ones without. So we start with a quarter note or a crotchet up there. Excuse me. Now, that means that we're just going to play this rhythm on the opening. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So if you think of it as numbers, that first note is going to last for 2 beats. 1, 2. And then all the others are going to last 1 beat each. 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's really good to tap it out or click it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to give you the rhythm. Whereas the next measure, the second measure, you notice they're all the same. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's good to get a feel of the rhythm before we go. The other thing that we want to do is we want to think about positions. Because there's no notes being played on the first fret, what I tend to do is I play these first couple of measures in what I often call second position. It just means that the index finger takes any note that happens on the second fret, and then second on the third, third on the fourth, fourth on the fifth, so on. So that means that I can do this. I will use my second here just because then I can drop it. Okay, so I'm kind of playing out of position, which is really, really nice. So that's a D here, C on the C string, 2nd fret. Then we drop down here to these B notes, the 2 2s, off for A, and then this G note here, the 3rd fret of the E string. Okay. Now, one more thing I wanted to show you quickly is fingering. Now, this one, I'm going to play what we often refer to as short arm. So rather than coming along the ukulele like this to pick the notes with the side of my nails, I'm picking relatively flatly on my nails. So I'm not at this 45-degree angle I normally do, which gives a really nice tone. I'm coming a little bit more flat, and that gives it a bit more of a brightness to it, especially if you bring your fingers back here over the sound hole. You should hear the difference, sort of quite mellow, a bit brighter here. And if I come right back here, almost sounds like a banjo. So we're going to go nice arch over the hand. Thumb's going to land on a G string here. Index finger is going to pick up on the C string. The middle finger is going to pick up on the E string. And a ring finger is going to pick up on the A string. We often call this Pima style because in Spanish, thumb is pulgar, P, indice, medio, annular is their name for the ring finger. Okay, so we're going to pick whichever note the string falls upon, use whichever of those fingers is on the string. So when I do the first bit, actually, I'll just keep the music off just for a moment. When I do the first bit, notice because the first note's on the C string, I use this index. Then when the note is on the A string, ring. And then when the note is on the E string, my middle finger. So that makes the start like this. Okay, I'm playing out of a G shape there, which makes it easier as well. Think about a G shape. Notice that most of those notes come from it. And the reason we're doing that, if I use my thumb, there's a lot of jumping about, which can be really, really awkward. So let's just try that first measure just to get us going. I'll bring the sheet music back on. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Lovely. Then the next measure is, as I say, all just quavers, all just eighth notes. So we play them one after a time. What I like to do is reset my finger to where the lowest note is. Excuse the shiny fretboard, it's really hot here, so I'm a bit sweaty Betty today. So we put our first finger on the 2nd fret here. Allows us to reach up with our little finger to the 5th fret and back and then off. So notice there's very little movement if I use these 2 fingers. Okay, really nice. Let's put those together. I'll play the first measure and second measure. 2, 3, 4. Sorry, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Little bit slower. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, really lovely start to a song, isn't it? Really, really beautiful. Harry, this actually is one of my oldest ukes I ever owned, actually. This is one of the... when I started playing ukulele, I used to buy and sell like mad. I got ukulele acquisition syndrome, UAS as they call it, bad. And a lot of my ukes I've resold over the years, but there's a few that I could never resell. My more betters and the one that Aaron Kine made me, and this lovely Hive as well, and of course my Bow Hannum. So ones that were made for me. This was made by Jake McClay using bird's eye maple. Isn't that lovely? Over in I think it's California Jade ukulele. I think that's right, of Hive ukuleles, but I just love it. So this is one of my oldest ukuleles. This one's been on tour with me and all sorts, so it's yeah, it's got a few dings in it, but I still love it to bits. Okay, now one more thing, and this is really important. When you do all those notes on the second measure, where we go into the A string, this is, let me see if I can bring the iPad and bring it in really close. This measure here is right in the middle of the screen, 252020. Now, what you could do on that bit is use, you can use alternating fingers, which looks really lovely. So, works really lovely, not looks really lovely, although it might look lovely as well. So instead of just using this ring finger, if you wanted to, you could use more than one finger. We call it alternating fingers. What you can try first is just cycling through two fingers like this. Now it doesn't matter which one goes first, just keep alternating them as you hit the notes. 2, 5, 2, off, 2, off. Can you see it's like a little bicycle? That allows me to hit those notes really quickly. I could even do it with 3 fingers. Like that. Okay, so have a little experiment with using more than one finger on that point. When you use 3 fingers, some people like to work backwards like I do. 3, 2, 1 with these fingers. Other people like to work forwards, going 1, 2, 3. Like that. So just have a little experiment, and it basically, when you play it fast, it allows you to hit notes really, really quickly. Okay, let's put those first 2 measures together again. There's a lot of repetition in this, don't worry. It won't take us till 10 o'clock at night. You'll soon get this. Okay, here we go. First 2 measures. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Fantastic. And if you don't get that right away, you can watch this back later. You can slow it down, take your time, which is nice. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you can play a lot faster. You might have seen people like Daniel Ward. They do an alternating fingers thing where they use flamenco kind of techniques. Where this Daniel Ward, he's Heidi Swedberg's partner, and he does a lot of this kind of. Where he kind of cycles through on the bottom string, which is really, really sweet. So, but he can do it like a million miles an hour because he's amazing at playing that flamenco stuff. So it does allow you to play a little bit quicker, those alternating fingers. Some people find they lose which string they're on a little bit, so it's kind of swings and roundabouts as you go. Now, this next bit is really sweet, this next measure. I'll play it for you just now, measure 3. It sounds like this. That was measure 4 as well, just so you could get it in context. So the rhythm for this one, notice we've got some here, we've got some semiquavers. So notice I'm teaching you a little bit about music, sheet music, standard notation without going too heavy. That's something that I'm going to do. I think after a year of doing these Melodic Mondays, you may even be able to sight read. But rather than worrying about pitches at the moment, let's just think about the note lengths. So those ones that have the 2 flags, they're called semiquavers, and they're twice as quick, if you like, as quavers. That's the way I think about it. So for this measure with the C above it, you can think of it as 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, 6. So notice that 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, 6. There's a little skip. You can also think of it as long, 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 quick, quick, long, long. That's another way of thinking about it. Or you can tap it out on your ukulele. No, 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 and no, no. Let's do that together. 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, 6. Okay, so that means we've got to hit those 2 G notes, the 3s, really quickly, haven't we? So it will sound something like this. That's 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, 6. Okay, let me slow that down. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, 6. Now the way you can do that, there's a few different ways, okay, to hit these notes really quickly. First way is just to use one finger and hit those G notes really quickly. I'll just ever so quickly, just so you can see, just so you can kind of memorize the notes if you're doing it this way. We're looking at that measure with 302, 333 off. Okay, all right, that's G, E, D, G, 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 A. Okay. Now, what you could do is just flick the string fairly quickly with that middle finger, like so. Hear that? But if you're playing this at a real high tempo, it's really hard to flick that fast. It's quite tricky. Let's just try it. 4, 5, 6. 4 and 5, 6. Yeah. And again. 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, 6. Yeah, cool. Now, there's another trick that we could use. We could use those alternating fingers. Watch this. Do you see how I alternated? I do that slow motion. Using these two. See, I accidentally hit a string by mistake there, which made it sound a bit messy. That's why you've got to be super accurate. Like that. That allows me to hit those notes quickly. Another thing you can try is you can actually do 3 fingers because we've got 3 G notes. I like to go 3, 2, 1 in this direction. Okay, that will sound and look like this. And into the next one. So that's a nice way. Notice again, I'm kind of coming quite short arm, we call it. So not like this, which is long arm. Over the top, we call it short arm. Looks like a kind of a Tyrannosaurus Rex is playing ukulele. That's what I always think. So again, if I do it really slow. And again, what you want to do is practice that through really slowly and then build it up. Let me know which you prefer so far. I'm really interested to know which you find easiest and what you find difficult, because it's really good learning for me as well. Now we have one more trick, which is how I play this, because I'm a bit of a cheat. Okay, it's not a cheat at all. It's being clever about a ukulele and playing almost like Campanella style. But the other thing you can do, because we've got 3 G notes, right, and we're playing the first G note at the 3rd fret of the E string, I can get 2 G notes really quickly by hitting that note there and then just the open G string. This only works if you've got a high G. But see how, particularly if I come here so I can dig in, I can hit those 3 notes really easily. Just a finger on the 3rd fret of the E string. I'm using my 2nd fingers just because where the other notes fall. But 3rd fret, and then just ping the G string. Okay, so that will look like this if I put it all together. Notice it has more of a smoothness to it. So have a little experiment with that. It's really neat use of the high G, that is, isn't it? Sometimes that's why I kind of like playing high G quite a lot, because I quite often use that G string for a note. Little tip, I like kind of mentioning all these little tips. Remember that if you ever want to find a note on the G string, if you know the note on the A string, like this C note, you can find the same one 2 frets higher on the G string. And often it's easier to play the note on the G string, depending on the passage of music. So just something to think about. All right, let's just finish off that line. I'll just bring it on again. Okay, so we'll just finish off the next bit. Again, we're back to those quarter notes or quavers. And this bit's nice and easy because it's mostly just on the 2nd fret. 2 off 2, that's B, A, B, A, and then another of these G's up here, and off for an E. So da 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 da. So what I'll do now is I'll put the whole of that first line together. 4, 5, 6. Now a little bit slower. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Really lovely, really nice. Have a little try that. You can always just have a try whilst I'm talking now, get a feel for it. This is a great question from Joe. Do I have any hints and tips on how to keep your Pima on their designated string? I always think about just resetting to that kind of claw shape, Joe. So I'll put that down there so you can still see the question. So when I do Pima style, if I've come out of it, so for instance for that, if I'm doing that, whoops, I'm kind of out of Pima now because my fingers aren't lining up across the right strings. I kind of automatically go back to this shape where I'm a little bit less short arm, a little bit more kind of diagonal across the strings, and just reset so that my fingers are on each string. So then the next bit, where is it? I can just use the fingers across the string. Now there's no right or wrong with this. You kind of have to experiment a little bit to see what you think works best. Some players, I've noticed Jeff Peterson does a lot of this, brilliant guitarist and ukulele player who's teaching with us in August. He'll quite often kind of keep this shape a little bit shorter. Daniel Ward does as well. And sometimes he'll use alternating strings, so he'll kind of never be in this lock position. He'll kind of float around over the top of the strings and use a lot of what we call free strokes, where you hit the string and really tuck your finger up. Or rest strokes is where we do this one, like that. So that's kind of how they play. I find that if I come back roughly into position afterwards, it just helps me getting the right string at the right time. But of course you could even do everything for your thumb. I'm kind of guilty of that because I like the tone of it. So I'll quite often just do a whole section. Whoops, what am I doing? Yeah. It sounds nice, but the only trouble is you're going to get an achy thumb because this goes so quickly. So Pima's better, obviously, if you can go for that Pima style, which is great. What's not known is if you practice the 3-finger technique, you would someday play that faster than 2-finger. Yeah, of course, Shell. Yeah, absolutely. Because 3 fingers, you can do your roll quickly. As I say, if you watch, if you want to see that in action, look up Aloha Oi. That's ALOHA, like Aloha. Oi, O-E. The Hawaiian song by Queen Lulu Kalani. And then look up Daniel Ward. And Daniel Ward's version of Aloha Oi is amazing. His thumb's picking out the melody notes. Then he does this trill using 3 fingers alternating on the A string. It's beautiful. So do look that up afterwards if you get a chance. Don't go now though. Stick with me a little bit longer. Okay, so that gives us our first line, and we've used most of the tricks we're going to use in the song now. So a lot of it is just working on the notes with some up the fretboard bits in a minute. So measure 5 is kind of like a repeat of the start again. There's a lot of repetition in fiddle music. So again, we've got this crotchet and then quavers. Exactly the same as before. In fact, this is exactly the same, isn't it? So you can do that little G trick there if you want. And then this time, notice we're coming down through the scale to this low E. So let's try that measure 5 to the first repeat. I'll go really slowly. 4, 5, 6. Notice that I'm using my first 2 fingers a lot because there's no notes on the first fret, so I can use my strongest fingers here. Okay, let's try the whole of the first 2 lines then. Let's put the whole of that together. That's the whole of the A section. 4, 5, 6. We go again, measure 5. Skip. Now the second time when we get to these measures here, we repeat the second measure. So where you've got repeat markers 1 and 2, you only ever play the 1 repeat marker once. After that you skip. So after you've hit the measure with a C chord above it, you don't then repeat measure 1, you jump to measure 2. And that takes us into the next section. I'll do the whole of that second line as if I'm doing it second time. Here's the second repeat. Notice it finishes on that high note there, which is really lovely. So that's taking us up the fretboard. Just going to have a quick slurp of coffee so it's not completely frozen by the time I finish. I'll be honest, it's pretty cold now. Sorry, it's very unprofessional, but I need refreshment. Okay, so that's the first half dealt with. Now here is the exact reason that I wanted to get you to practice that G major scale. And if you're practicing these over the next 2 weeks, which I would love you to do if you can, what I would like to do is really think about how you practice. So rather than jumping straight in, what I'd like you to do is practice your G major scale this way, the way we did it at the start, and then practice the A section. And you'll notice that all of the notes in the A section are covered in this scale here, like this. Then for the next section, I want you to practice the G major scale in 7th position up at the 7th fret. This one here. Let's just do it ever so quickly. I won't bore you because you've already done it before, but let's just do it really quickly. So 7th fret of the C string for G, 9 for A, 7th fret of the next string for B, 8 for C, 10th for D, back to the 7th for E, up to 9th for F sharp, and then the G here at the end, which is really, really sweet. Okay, so that's your G major scale up the fretboard. So that means we can start playing all of these notes really high up. Yeah, totally. Malaguena's a classic flamenco tune that uses that alternating fingers string. It's really nice, yeah. Ted, it doesn't really matter if you use that thumb on the C string. That's okay. Ted's just saying it's hard for him to get away from using his thumb on the C string. But that's absolutely fine. There's a lot of players that will use their thumb for the notes on the top 2 strings and then these 2 fingers for any notes on these strings. And that's absolutely fine. Finger style, it doesn't always have to be this way. It can be just thumb. Kimo Hussey is a famous player who just uses finger and thumb, like a lot of Hawaiian players do. Or, like Ted does, use the thumb on those top 2 strings. So it's no hard and fast rules, guys. You've got to go with what feels most comfortable. All right. Remember my adage, that's not even a word, is it? But If it feels good and it sounds good, it is good. All right, so that's totally cool. So notice on this second repeat, we started to go up through the scale. B note, followed by a high D note, which then goes up to the high E note here. Now, remember when we were doing the G major scale the first way, we reset to our first finger when we got to that E. I'll do that again. Okay, well, we need to do the same thing here when we do the second repeat. Reset to your first finger here for the 7th fret for this high E, and then notice that the rest of this bit is based on that G major scale up here we're practicing. 7, 10, 7, and then one more of those 7s, that's an E. We go to the 10th fret here for this D, and we go down here for this B. Okay, so that will look like this. Much easier than doing this, right? Where we've got to see, I fumbled that bit because I've got to go so far back. So we're keeping in position. Let's try it one more time. 4, 5, 6. You really see that G major scale shape, which is really nice. Then we've got one more fancy bit. We've got a lovely trill here. Or I guess this will probably be a modern, I think, technically in music, so we're just coming on and off once. You can think of it in ukulele terms as a hammer on and pull off, like a double. So let me talk you through it. It's not as hard as it looks. So we have 7, 10, and then we have 3 notes really quickly. It's like 3 notes in the space of 1. That's why it's got... Can you see how it's got that little 3 written underneath it? Let me bring it on the big screen. Here. Look, that little 3 underneath. That means it's a triplet. So in the space of that where you would normally get 2 notes, we've got 3 notes. So think it as 1, 2, triplet, 5, 6, basically. Now that's quite tricky in terms of our fingering. It's not too bad once you get the hang of it. Let me talk you through it. So, let me come on close camera. We're going to hit the first notes as they were. And then to get the next 3 notes really quickly, we're going to pick the A string with our finger on 7. And then we're going to put our 3rd finger, or you can use your 4th. I find my 3rd has more strength. We're going to hammer it quite hard onto the string. Like this. And then we're going to take it off without picking again. So we're only going to pick once for 3 notes. And if you do it right, you should hear like a da, da, if that makes sense. No worries, Indrani. So, pick on off. Now, the key to it is as you come down, have the courage of your convictions. You've got to push through the string into the fretboard. I once had a tennis coach. I used to have nightmares afterwards because he was so strict about it. But I used to have to hit through the ball. And you notice that with tennis players. Once they've hit the ball, the racket doesn't stop. Unless they want to put a chop spin on it, right? But they hit through the ball. And it's the same thing here. What you've got to do is hit through the string and into the wood of the fretboard. Like that. Okay. And then when you take it off, you should hear a 2nd E note. Hear that? If that 2nd E note is really disappearing, what you can do is as you pull off, you can pull the string a little bit as you pull down. Can you hear that, how I'm making a note even without picking? Like that. Cool, isn't it? That's a technique that a lot of players like James Hill and Jake Shimabukuro do to get 3 notes really, really quickly, basically. No worries, Ted. You can always come to it later on, guys. No worries. Yeah, Robin, it's especially a music teacher's trick as well. The amount of times I make coffees for myself and my students when I used to do one-to-ones, and then I'd get chatting and playing and everything. You completely forget about it. You'd have a stone cold cup of coffee at the end. Maybe I should get into drinking iced coffee. That might be the way to go. Now, one last thing. We're nearly there, guys. Because this is being played so quickly, it's not like this. It's like this. It's really quick, right? You won't have time to really pull down, so just think of it as quickly picking and putting your finger on and off. Practice that, me. 3, 4, 3, 4, 3, 4. Okay. Now, when I put that together with the music, let's bring it back in. It's going to sound really lovely, or at least it should do. Let's have a look. So I'm going to go from measure 10. So you can see it, and I'll come in on close camera. It will sound like this. I'll do it kind of fast, and then I'll do it slow. Okay, or really fast. Okay, and then slow. Whoops. Okay, notice it loses it a bit slow because you hear that you don't hear the third note, but when you play at a tempo, it'll be really, really nice. Let's try it from measure 10 together. 4, 5, 6. Here it comes. Okay, one more time from 10. 4, 5, 6. Yeah, really nice, really nice. That's a bit that's probably in the whole thing that's going to take the most practice, but give it your all and just keep practicing it really slow and you will get that, guys. It's a beautiful, beautiful little trick. Okay. Now let's have a look at next bit. The next bit actually for this rest of this line is quite simple again because it's just using eighth notes or quavers. So every note is the same and it's based on that shape again. If you get used to this G major shape, you'll see that most of the notes fall within it. In fact, it's mostly played on the 10th and 7th fret. So from the measure where it says G, we're going to play G up. We're going to play this 10 up here, which is a D note, back to 7. I'll use my first, back to 10. And then I come here to 7. And then the 9th fret, which is the F sharp, and it makes you want to come up to 10. Resolve it to the D, back down. So it should feel relatively natural if you think about your fingerings. I'll play that for you again. Okay, let's try that together. 4, 5, 6. Notice that last A note that I'm hitting an open A, just the open A string. Now that's for a very specific reason. That's me as an arranger trying to help you guys out. You'll see why in a second. Basically it's because when I go to the next bit, I'm just bring this up so you can see it a little bit closer. When I go to the next line, I'm kind of having to reset shape. I'll show you what I mean. I'll play that bit we just did. Sorry, do that again. And I'm having to come down here to the 5th and 7th fret for the next bit. So rather than using an A here, G, A, like we would when we do the G major scale, or this A here, I use an open A. And that open A can be really powerful because it gives you time, very briefly, to reset. Fingers are off, I can put them down where I want now. So I'm going to go with my third finger here. So then I can reach back to this 5 here, which is another A. Okay, and then I can take it back up. Little finger. Now that A at the end of measure 15 is even more crucial, because that allows me to come right back here for this G note on the 3rd fret. To finish off that phrase, which is really sweet. So if you are ever making your own arrangements, if you ever feel confident enough, have a think about where to play these notes. That A we did, remember, that's got 3 different positions really, really clearly up here, because we can play the A here from the G major scale. We can play it here, and we can play it open. We could even play it 2nd fret of the G string. So there's the same notes all over the place on the ukulele, which makes it hard to learn in some ways. You have to really think it through, but it can be a real skill to use those notes to make things a little bit clearer, which is great. All right, let's take it from the last 2 measures here, and let's see if we can play it right through to the 1st repeat. So we're going from measure 12 up here. Okay, 10, 7, 10. Get ready. I'll come in on close camera. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Reset. 5, 7 to 10. Open A, come right back down. Another 3 Gs. Notice that's 1st repeat. We've gone to that high D again, so it sets you up to go round and do it all over again. Okay. Measure 14 is interesting, isn't it? Because we've got different notes. We've got crotchet, quaver, crotchet, quaver. You can think of that as long, quick, if you want. The crotchets you count for 2. So this is measure 14. 1, 2. Then the quaver just for 1. So it'll be 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 1. Okay? 2, 2. Okay? So just in case when I'm not here, you want to get that rhythm for that bit. Okay? Long, short, long, short. Okay? That will give you the timing. Fantastic. Now we're basically there, guys. So we go back to measure 10 and we do the whole of the 2nd section again, the B section. Only just like last time, when we get to the 1st and 2nd repeat, we jump straight to the 2nd repeat. We don't repeat the 1st one. So let's do that. Let's do the whole of this B section really slowly from measure 10 right through to the end. Remember, we're not doing the 1st repeat. Just jump to the 2nd repeat and that will finish it off. Let's give it a go. So actually I'll keep that up there a bit bigger because that makes sense. I think you can see what's happening in my picking hand there as well. Should have done that all along. That works really well. Okay, here we go then. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Open A, next line, 5, 7, 10, 7. Open A, come right down to 3. And it's no coincidence that we end on that G note. Whoops. The reason it's got a dot next to it is just because it's played for 1.5 beats. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. And you can mute it afterwards, or you could just let it ring out. because it's the last note of the piece, which is really, really lovely. Now, there's one other thing that you can do with this to alter the dynamics, which I think sounds really, really sweet. I don't think I remembered to do this when I did the playthrough. See if you can notice what I'm doing. First person to say gets a brownie point from me, and I might do it wrong anyway. But let's see. I'm just going to move this out of the way now. It's done its job. There we go. Cool. Okay. Right. So I'm going to play it from the top, and I'm just going to alter the dynamics slightly and see if you can kind of spot it. There's a bit of a clue in my body language. You'll see as we go. So on and so forth. Okay, coming right down. Sorry, I can't see this bottom line because on my screen I've got all my my gear stick things. So that kind of gives you an idea of kind of how to alter dynamics. It's quite subtle. Did anyone work out what I was doing there? There was some vibrato. Yeah, I thought someone might say that, Frank. You fell into my trap because I was doing vibrato. So actually, you're quite right. I did a lot of wobbling. The trap was when I said it's to do with my body language. But there's another thing I do. Don't look at my fingers. Look at my whole body. Karen got it. Well, it's kind of half true, Karen and Fran. Don't worry, you're not wrong. There was vibrato. Notice my whole body this time. I'll really exaggerate it. I'll move that out of the way and I'll look at my screen over here so I can see the notes. Okay, I'll do it again. Do you notice I was kind of rocking backwards and forwards a bit? It looks like I've gone mad. And that's because this song, Out on the Ocean, I kind of have this feel like I'm on a boat. I can make myself seasick if I'm not careful. Yeah, Benjamin's got it. Ben, well done. Well done. Emphasising moments of breath in the lyric. So it's kind of like, you know how you can think about kind of this as being sung, because originally there were some lyrics to it. Actually, originally they weren't. It was a fiddle tune, but then they were put sort of in the Appalachian Mountains. I am sailing out on the... So you can kind of imagine where the lyric would take a breath. I'll kind of put a little bit of a kind of a gentler tone there, and I'll just pause for a second. The other thing, and Joe's got this as well, I'm kind of, there's a bit more emphasis on the triplet, on the second triplet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so sometimes I'll do that. But the other thing that I do, which Karen's getting at as well, which is fantastic that you guys picked up on this, it's brilliant. I'm not going to give you exactly where you should put this because I think it's kind of down to personal preference. But I move up and down in volume, basically. You'll notice I really ease off. It might not come over that well on YouTube through my mic, but I'll try and really exaggerate it. Almost go quiet as mouse at the end, and by just altering that, kind of just practicing going up and down, it gives the piece like a feel like you're on a boat in the sea. That's kind of how I kind of envisage it. Da starts quite strong. Da 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 da. Do you see what I mean? So have a little experiment with that. You can do it whilst I'm talking now. I don't mind. Obviously, I can't hear you anyway. But have a little play through, maybe just the first line, or maybe the first 8 measures, and see if you can get that leaning in and leaning off. And I do a lot of this in my playing. I'll move backwards and forwards in rhythm with the music, and in rhythm with the dynamics. Often Sharon, my wife, thinks I look a bit mad because I'll sit in the sit in the window like this, like that kid in Deliverance, you know, on the banjo. Yeah, it really helps me for sure. So yeah, like a sea shanty, Benjamin. Yeah, it kind of gives it that call and response feel, doesn't it? Which is really nice. Or that kind of moving of the boat, which is really sweet as well. And Karen says she leans in all the time. As a matter of fact, can't stop myself from moving and humming. That's great. That's great. That's another thing you can do to learn the rhythm. So if you're kind of struggling with the rhythm and stuff, like Karen says, I'll often hum it as I play. I notice Karen does this a lot in her works in progress. Da 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 da. By singing it as you play it, excuse me, obviously you have to get to know the tune first, but it really helps to kind of give you the rhythm and get you really locked in, which is fantastic. Yeah, Cat Stevens, yeah, because he did a lot of rhythmic playing, didn't he? Donovan used to do it a bit as well, when he was doing that kind of finger picking style that he taught the Beatles. So yeah, fantastic. So I think what we'll do to finish off, I'll stay around for a bit and take any questions, but we've basically covered all the ground here that we need to in terms of playing this thing through. So what I'd like to do is just play it through. The first time I'm going to go way below tempo. So you might still get lost, and that's absolutely fine, all right? You're just learning it. That is totally cool. But I'll play it really slow so you can try playing it along with me. And remember, A, B, B. So up to first repeat the first 2 lines. Up to the second repeat the last 2 lines, and then we'll do it kind of a little bit more at tempo just to show you how it would sound again. I'll probably go wrong, which is absolutely fine. Yeah, don't worry, Andrew, it's good, isn't it? It's good, absolutely. Yeah, that, and Shao, you've got it exactly right. I'm mostly in Pima style, but when there are lots of consecutive notes on one string, that's where I change to the alternating. Yeah, exactly right. Thanks, Harry. You take care, mate. Missing you. Hope you're doing well, bud. Hope you're doing well. Okay, I'll come in and close, Cam, and we'll go really slowly from the start. Okay, nice and slowly, guys. I'll count you in to give you an idea as well. Oh yeah, Karen's right. If you can hit the thumbs up icon, the kind of the global one on YouTube, that will really help with the algorithm picking it up. Thanks, guys. And if you're enjoying this and you want to do more of this stuff, loads of courses on my website, mattsteadukulele.com. In fact, I've even got an entire fingerstyle course. So if you enjoy this, go and check it out. Here we go then. From the top, really slow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Here's our skip. From measure 5. Skip. First repeat. Right back to the start, guys. Skippy bit. Second line. skippy bit. Second repeat now. Up to that high D. Reset, 7. Here's a hammer on pull off. Bottom line. Right back down here. First repeat, back to measure 10. Final repeat. Yeah, there we go. Let me know how you got on, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed that and you're able to pick up sections. Remember, it's not a lot about learning the whole piece right away. It's just about getting a feel for these techniques. Remember, practicing those alternating fingers, thinking about those G major scales and using that high G trick. So each time we do one of these, it's lovely to learn a piece of music, but it's more about what goes into it. So really key to kind of developing your playing. I'll just play it a little bit quicker, bit more up to tempo, just so you can hear how it sounds kind of a bit more at tempo. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Whoops. Something like that. There we go. Couple of skips there. It started. This is really embarrassing, but I've got a bit of a cold and I really needed to rub my nose halfway through that. Sorry, too much information, but hopefully you enjoyed that, guys. Thanks, Karen. So this is what I want, really. As I say, it's not about the performance. I didn't perform it perfectly. I need to work on that, obviously. But hopefully you can get those little techniques, little bits of help that you can have along the way to help start to develop your finger style. So we're going to work more on thinking about this Pima technique, involving other strings, things like mordants and triplets and all sorts of slides and things like that as well. Yeah, it's all about that reset, Fran, when you get up to measure 10. So kind of, you'll hear I sometimes get a bit of a legato slide going up there when I do this kind of. There's almost like a whip because I slide up. The important thing is get that finger on the 7th fret, your first finger, really quick. So as you come out that second repeat. so you're there ready to go. But yeah, that's the trickiest bit. The bit that always trips me up is when I sometimes forget that we're coming down the fretboard. So when I do measure 15, coming back here, which should be one of the easiest bits, but sometimes I just kind of forget that coming all the way back here. Because of course you could play that G here, sorry, and the A here. But yeah, that's the bit that always trips me up. But that's cool. It happens to everyone as you're learning it. But that's really, really good that we're kind of thinking about these things. So yeah, that's the other thing. The more you do it, the easier it gets. It's like anything in life, isn't it? I sometimes, when I'm kind of doom scrolling, I don't know if anyone else does this, but you know when you kind of doom scroll on Twitter or Facebook or something, and you're just looking at loads of random videos of a load of rubbish, basically. I sometimes come across one of like people performing like feats of human magnificence, you know, like gymnasts that are able to just do these kind of amazing things, or circus shows, you know, where they can do all these clever things that you just think, how is that physically possible? Quite often they show ones from tradespeople in the Far East, and they're doing these like crazy things so fast. It's just like mind blowing. But of course, it's just repetition, isn't it? If you do things enough times, it becomes second nature. And I always like to use the analogy of driving a car. I didn't learn to drive until I was in my mid-30s, and well, I guess early 30s, when we had our first child, Sandy. And I kind of realised that if I was going to, you know, move the family about, even just going and picking up Sharon from hospital, I'd need to drive. So I kind of learned to drive later in life. I don't know why I'm telling this story, sorry. But so I found learning to drive really hard. And I remember the first few lessons I got in the car, and it was like, hang on a minute, I've got to look in mirrors and forwards at the same time, and I've got to change gear, but I've got to remember to put my foot on the clutch. And then I've also got to remember, you know, about when to change gears, and I've got to do this life-saving check where I check that mirror and all these things. And I just thought, I'm never going to drive because that is just totally overwhelming. How can I do all those things at the same time? But let's be honest, most of us now, you know, I've been driving for like 15, 16 years, something like that. It's second nature. I can just do it without thinking, and I bet you guys do. You get into a car and you just do all those things. And it's the same with this. Just the more you do it, the more you'll get used to it as well. So yeah, that's it. You'll get it. What were the sound effects? Was it Ecamm doing sound effects? Sometimes when I do a thumbs up, it'll like do a funny noise and stuff. It's meant to like recognise things like that. Is that what was happening? I don't know. There we go. So yeah, tell myself it took me a long time to learn how to ride a bike. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly right. Exactly right. When I learned to ride a bike, I could only ride round and round in circles. I could go super fast and stay on it, but I could only go in circles, which wasn't very useful. But I got there eventually. Yeah, exactly. Same thing with bar chords. People ask me how long it takes to get bar chords, and you just never really know. Some people it takes longer than others, and then it will just click, and you think, "Oh my gosh, I can do it without thinking." So, yeah, stick with it, guys. Be really, really good. So I think that's it for tonight. Let me just remind you that in 2 weeks' time, we're going to be back with our next Canacapilla Mondays, because we're alternating these. So we're going to be back in 2 weeks' time. And that's purely because I'm going to be in Spain next Monday on the Awesome Andalusian adventure. So I'm not going to be around next Monday to do Canacapilla. And whenever that happens, we're going to push it forward. Oh, Karen, I get it. The zip up the fret. Yeah, that bit. Yeah, I'm with you. That's cool. That's cool. So yeah, just a reminder. So in 2 weeks' time, we're going to have Canacapilla again, which I cannot wait for. Love it. And then the week after that, we'll be back for our next Melodic Mondays. If you're ever not sure what's coming up, you can either check on the Facebook group, Students Hangout, where Karen, thanks Karen, does a brilliant little mini diary. You'll find it in the files section or the pinned the pinned posts at the top, and she'll plan ahead so you can see when the next Melodic Mondays is, when the next Canacapella is, when the next live lesson is. Otherwise, if you go to the website mattsteadukulele.com and then just click on live, and then you'll see there are the different types of live lessons, the fortnightly Wednesday lessons, fortnightly Melodic Mondays, and fortnightly Canacapellas. So yeah, if I'm ever away or whatever, you can keep on top of things and see what's happening. And don't forget, there's also a blog on my website. If you go to the blog, that will tell you things like when I've got my next Beatles lesson that's gone up, or all sorts of things like that. So do check it out, guys. That would be brilliant. That's it, featured section for the schedule, and that's where I put most of the links as well. So when I post the Canacapella, I'll pin it in the Facebook thing so you can find it as well. So thanks, Fran, take care, good to see you again. Right, I think I'm going to love you and leave you guys. I hope you enjoyed that. We'll be back for another one in 2 weeks' time. We're going to do a lovely piece from the Southern Pacific, Ukulele, which is really, really gorgeous. I think you'll really enjoy that. So that'll be coming up in 3 weeks' time. All right, take care, everyone. Much love. And if I don't see you beforehand, I'll see you when I come back from Spain. Maybe I'll be tanned. You never know. Take care. Oh, and yeah, don't forget, we've got a mashup challenge where every month we do a challenge on Facebook where we challenge you to post your own performances. And it can be original material, or it can be covers. And the one this month was a mashup challenge. So 2 songs put into one. Normally the voting ends after 3 weeks to a month, and it was meant to be this Monday, but as I'm away, I'm probably if I'm honest, not going to get round to the judging until the end of next week. So you've got a bit of a reprieve. So if you haven't already entered the mashup challenge, go onto our Facebook group, Uke Students Hangout, and do it. It's so much fun, and everyone's so encouraging, and you get to earn some cool badges. The Matt Says I'm Amazing badge, and I've got these new ones as well with the new branding on and stuff. So plus I'll stick a CD or a book in the post for you. So do that if you can, the mashup challenge on Facebook. And as I say, you've got an extra week and a half because I'm a little bit behind with everything with Spain and whatnot. All right, I will see you very soon, guys. And doff the faith, that's all I know. Don't even know what it means. Something about 2 beers. Take care and see you on the other side. Much love. Bye.